Hey guys, my name's Matt, I love hockey, and today I'm going to be doing a season preview for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to start off by breaking them down by position, starting on the left wing. And all of these lineups were acquired from rosterresource.com, so they might not be 100% accurate, but we'll break that down as we go. Starting on the left wing, you have Patrick Marleau, Zach Hyman, Andreas Johnsson, and Tyler Ennis. Now that's the first thing I want to bring up, is that some projected lineups have Tyler Ennis listed here, some of them have Josh Leivo. I'm not 100% sure who will be put in here, probably Leivo if I had to guess, but we'll see how that all shakes out. Now that you've been formally introduced to the left wing, let's go ahead and look at their statistics. Starting with Patrick Marleau, who had 27 goals in the regular season, 20 assists, and 47 points, and in the playoffs had 4 goals, 1 assist, and 5 points. Now the interesting thing about Marleau is that he's actually 38 currently, and he'll be 39 by the time the season starts. And yet he's still putting up pretty solid numbers. Then you have Zach Hyman, who had 15 goals, 25 assists, and 40 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs had 1 goal, 3 assists, and 4 points. Now he only actually has played 3 seasons. One of them wasn't a full season. He only played something like 16 games in that first year, but then he played 2 full seasons since then, and he put up 28 points and then 40 points last year, so he increased by 12 points. I wouldn't be surprised to see an increase like that again this year. Next up is Andreas Johnsson, who had 2 goals, 1 assist, and 3 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs had 1 goal, 1 assist, and 2 points. And Johnsson actually only played 9 regular season games last year for the Maple Leafs. He spent most of his time with the Marlies, Toronto's AHL affiliate, and he was a big part of them winning the Calder Cup this year. He put up more points than anyone else during the playoffs, and was awarded with the Jack Butterfield Trophy as the MVP of the Calder Cup. Then you have Tyler Ennis, who put up 8 goals, 14 assists, and 22 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs put up 0 goals, 0 assists, and 0 points, but he only played 1 game. So overall, looking at them as a group on the left wing, I do think they're going to have a really solid year. I think Johnsson is going to do amazing things if he plays a full 82 games. I think he's going to be really strong forward. Then you have Hyman, and I think Hyman's going to have an increased points total this year. I think basically everyone's going to have an increased points total because the young kids are getting a little bit more experience. They're probably going to get a little bit better. And then Tavares coming in is just going to help everyone. Then you have Marleau, and Marleau, I don't know how he can be the age he is and put up the points he does. He's one of those guys like Joe Thornton who just seems to have found the fountain of youth and will just be able to play and put up good numbers for as long as they want. With that said, I would say that they're weakest down the left wing here over their other forward groups, but it's still a pretty solid group, and I think that their strength down the middle will make up for a lot of that. And speaking of strength down the middle, let's go ahead and look at their centermen. You have Auston Matthews, the recently signed John Tavares, Nazem Kadri, and Par Lindholm. Now Lindholm's the only one that's really questionable here. There's an interview that's been quoted where somebody said that he had the inside track on that 4th line center position. Diving into the statistics, Auston Matthews had 34 goals, 29 assists, and 63 points in the regular season, and in the postseason had 1 goal, 1 assist, and 2 points. And he only actually played 62 games last year, so that's his first season as a points per game player in the NHL. John Tavares had 37 goals, 47 assists, 84 points, and he played 0 games in the postseason because he was playing for the Islanders at the time, and they didn't make it to the playoffs. And that's actually an 18-point increase over his previous season, where he scored 66 points in 77 games. Then you have Nazem Kadri, who had 32 goals, 23 assists, 55 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs had 0 goals, 2 assists, and 2 points. And rounding out the center position, you have Par Lindholm, who all his statistics are from the Swedish Hockey League, where he played 49 games, he put up 18 goals, 29 assists, and 47 points, and in the playoffs put up 6 goals, 5 assists for 11 points. I know it's not the NHL, but he's playing against full-grown men, so figured I'd just go ahead and throw those statistics in there. Down the middle, they are amazing. You have Tavares, you have Matthews, you have Kadri. Now, there is some debate on whether or not who will be the first line, who will be the second line. I really don't think it matters. I think they're basically going to have 2 first lines with Matthews and Tavares. I think maybe they might shift around and give a little bit more ice time to whoever's playing better that particular night. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. The fact is that almost no teams have this kind of ability down the center. The only team that really comes to mind that can rival this is the Pens with Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby. I can't say enough good about this center group. Now that I've had my fanboy moment, let's go ahead and move on to the right wing, where we have William Nylander, Mitch Marner, Connor Brown, and Kasperi Kapanen. Nylander had 20 goals, 41 assists, and 61 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs put up 1 goal, 3 assists, and 4 points. This is also only his third season. 2015-2016 played 22 games, and then he played 2 full seasons since then. Each one he put up 61 points in. Then Mitch Marner, who had 22 goals, 47 assists, 69 points, and in the playoffs put up 2 goals, 7 assists, and 9 points. This was actually Marner's second year, because this is a super young team, and they solely exist to make everyone else feel old and slow. And you know what? I'm here for it. Connor Brown had 14 goals, 14 assists, 28 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs had 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points. This is 12 points less than he put up in the previous year, but this is only his second year. Then you have Kasperi Kapanen, who put up 7 goals, 2 assists, and 9 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs put up 1 goal, 0 assists for 1 point, and he only actually played 38 games this last year. Down the right side, they're exactly the same as down the middle. Your top 2 guys, amazing players, they're almost interchangeable, they're so good, and your third line guy is solid. Your fourth line guy, hasn't played a full season yet, you'll see how he pans out. I have seen a couple of lineups where they have Kapanen as the third line guy and Brown as the fourth line guy. Personally, I would stick with Brown on the third line, but, it really depends on how Kapanen plays if he does play a full year this year. One last thing I wanted to talk about right here is the fact that William Nylander looks exactly like Joffrey Baratheon from Game of Thrones. I feel like this is very important information that you need going into the season. Now let's move on to defense. There's Morgan Rielly, Ron Hainsey, Jake Gardiner, Nikita Zaitsev, Travis Dermott, and Connor Carrick. Morgan Rielly in the regular season had 6 goals, 46 assists for 52 points, and had a total on ice time of 21 minutes and 36 seconds. Jake Gardiner had 5 goals, 47 assists, 52 points, and a total on ice time of 22 minutes and 32 seconds. Travis Dermott had 1 goal, 12 assists, 13 points, and a total on ice time of 16 minutes. Ron Hainsey had 4 goals, 19 assists, and 23 points with a total on ice time of 21 minutes and 52 seconds. Nikita Zaitsev had 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points, and a total on ice time of 22 minutes and 13 seconds. And Connor Carrick had 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points, and a total on ice time of 15 minutes and 8 seconds. Morgan Rielly, Jake Gardiner, and Connor Carrick all had career highs in points this year. Morgan Rielly actually had 25 more points than he had any of his previous seasons, and Ron Hainsey had his highest points total since the 2009-2010 season. But Morgan Rielly is the big story here. He had career highs by 25 points. That is an insane increase. Looking at his performance in the playoffs, he put up 0 goals, 5 assists, 5 points, and had a total on-ice time of 20 minutes and 49 seconds. Jake Gardiner had 0 goals, 2 assists, 2 points, and a total on-ice time of 23 minutes and 39 seconds. Travis Dermott had 1 goal, 0 assists, 1 point, and a total on-ice time of 13 minutes and 42 seconds. Ron Hainsey had 0 goals, 1 assist, 1 point, and a total on-ice time of 21 minutes and 26 seconds. Nikita Zaitsev had 0 goals, 2 assists, 2 points, and a total on-ice time of 20 minutes and 48 seconds. And Connor Carrick didn't play any playoff games, so he had 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points, and a total on-ice time of 0 minutes and 0 seconds. How do I feel about their defense? Well, I'd say it's pretty alright. It's definitely a weak spot, but this team is really good, so there's going to be spots that are a little bit weaker than others. The thing I keep hearing about the Leafs is they don't have a mobile, puck-moving defenseman, but I'd say Rielly and Gardiner make up for that. They each had 50 points last season, and you have enough offensive firepower from your forwards to make up for that lack of an all-star defenseman. And now for the goaltending. You have Frederik Andersen and Curtis Michelini. In the regular season, Andersen had 38 wins, 21 losses, 5 overtime losses, and a goals against average of 2.81 and a save percentage of 0.918. And these are career highs for him. In the playoffs, he had 3 wins, 3 losses, a goals against average of 3.76, a save percentage of 0.896. Michelini in the regular season had 11 wins, 5 losses, 1 overtime loss, had a goals against average of 2.14, and a save percentage of 0.934. And In the playoffs, he had 0 wins, 1 loss, a goals against average of 5.07, and a save percentage of 0.826. Now, Curtis McElhinney played a decent number of games and actually put up better numbers than Frederik Andersen. As you can see, his goals against average and save percentage were actually higher. So, if Freddie Andersen does get injured, not sure if he would have the ability to start as many games as Andersen does, but he should be able to hold the fort until Andersen recovers. Now let's look at some additional skaters. You have Josh Leivo, Frederick Garther, Justin Holl, and Josh Juris. Josh Leivo, in the regular season, had 1 goal, 3 assists, and 4 points. Frederick Garther had 1 goal, 0 assists, 1 point. Justin Holl had 2 goals, 0 assists, and 2 points. And Josh Juris had 3 goals, 3 assists, and 6 points in the regular season. Now you might see some of these guys play in the regular season. The only 2 I really heard anything about were Josh Leivo and Josh Juris, who might end up in the lineup at some point this season, especially if there's injuries. Now let's move along to player signings in the offseason. John Tavares signed a 7-year contract for $11 million. Andreas Janssen signed a 1-year contract for $787,500. Frederick Garther signed a 2-year contract for $675,000. Tyler Ennis signed a 1-year contract for $650,000. Justin Holl signed for 2 years at $675,000. Josh Juris signed a 1-year contract for $650,000. Connor Carrick signed a 1-year contract for $1.3 million. Calvin Pickard signed a 1-year contract for $800,000. And Par Lindholm signed a 1-year contract for $925,000. Now, at the end of each one of these videos, I like to ask the question of what is still up in the air. These are questions that I have that I think will determine whether or not a team has a good season or a weak one. First question I have is, how will the kids react to veteran leadership? This is really the first time they'll have a big-name guy come in who spent a lot of time in the NHL. But this team so far has just been a group of young dudes trying to figure it out as they go. And it'll be interesting to learn how they treat Tavares when he arrives. This could, of course, actually make them a whole lot better, because these kids won't be having to make it up as they go along anymore. They have somebody who's been there and done that, and can help them mature their game. The next question is, how does Tavares take the move? Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Tavares is a great player, and I won't deny that. But he's only ever played for the one team. So he might love it and thrive, or he might like it a lot less than he thinks he will. Especially in Toronto, where we've seen pretty good players just not be able to perform there. Phil Kessel immediately comes to mind. They also find themselves in a great position, in the way that they have 2 first lines pretty much, and competition will sometimes breed the best of those lines. But other times it can breed all kinds of problems. People don't think they get enough ice time, and they might get a little bit angry, something that we've also seen in the past. Another thing to look at is their losses in the offseason. They lost James Van Riemsdyk, Tyler Bozak, and Roman Polak. Each one is a formidable player that can win you a game if they have a good night. And finally, their defense. The Leafs are seen as having a weak defense. I don't think that this will be a problem. I think Tavares will come in and play a defensively responsible game, and that'll make the younger players want to do the same. Alright guys, well that wraps up my season preview for your Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they're going to have a good year. I think they're going to win their division and possibly the Stanley Cup. Between them and Winnipeg, it is a good time to be a Canadian, because you're more than likely going to win a cup at some point soon. But if you like this video, make sure to check out my other season previews and check back for future season previews. I'm going to be doing one for each and every team going into the season. This is Less Than 3 Hockey. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that stuff below, and thank you for watching.